Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Suleiman Ali, your host, and this is Rift Valley Tube. Welcome to a platform that provides unbiased coverage of African affairs. Today, our story is centered on the Horn of Africa, where critical events have unfolded. In the heart of the Horn of Africa, two nations, Ethiopia and Sudan, have shared a tragic destiny. Their leaders, driven by an unrelenting hunger for power, have appeared callously indifferent to the suffering of their own people. Drones, once celebrated as symbols of progress, have now metamorphosed into instruments of terror. Before we delve into this crucial topic, I'd like to remind you, our valued viewers, to please engage with us. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you find this content informative, and share this video with your friends and networks. And, of course, if you haven't already, do consider subscribing to our channel. Your active participation not only supports our mission to provide unbiased coverage, but also helps us reach a wider audience. Now, let's continue our journey into the heart of the Horn of Africa. In the heart of the Horn of Africa, two nations, Ethiopia and Sudan, shared a tragic destiny. Their leaders, fueled by an unrelenting hunger for power, appeared callously indifferent to the suffering of their own people. In a cruel turn of events, drones once celebrated as symbols of progress had now metamorphosed into instruments of terror. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed had shockingly deployed drones against his own populace. In the Amhara and Tigray regions, where discontent had smoldered for years, the eerie buzz of unmanned aerial vehicles had become an all-too-familiar presence. Abiy's administration asserted that these drone strikes were essential for maintaining order, but the grim reality revealed a different story. Innocent civilians were bearing the brunt of this so-called order. In neighboring Sudan, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, determined to cling to power, had taken a page from Ethiopia's playbook. His target was the formidable paramilitary force known as the Rapid Support Forces, RES-F, led by the influential Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, or Hemedti, al. Burhan's government had also turned to drones to strike at the RSF, but these attacks frequently spilled over into civilian areas, leaving devastation in their wake. The people of both nations endured a bleak existence. Hunger gnawed at their stomachs. The absence of adequate health care left them vulnerable to disease, and the dream of education for their children had faded into obscurity. Astonishingly, their leaders remained undeterred, channeling their resources into advanced weaponry and military prowess. Amidst the chaos, the United States government decided to take action against the perpetrators of these heinous acts. The Treasury Department imposed sanctions on Abdurrahim Hamdan Dagalo, a high-ranking IRS leader, and the brother of Hemedti. Visa restrictions were placed on Abdul Rahman Juma, an RSF commander operating in West Darfur. The international community watched with bated breath as these measures were put into effect. For the people of Ethiopia and Sudan, countless innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. These actions offered a glimmer of hope in their darkest hours. However, the path to peace and prosperity remained shrouded in uncertainty. While drones continued to cast a shadow of fear, the resilience of the people began to shine through. They recognized that real change could only come from within their own nations. And so they began to organize, raising their voices against the grave injustices. The world had taken notice, and the mounting pressure on the Ethiopian and Sudanese governments left them with a choice: cling to power and disregard the suffering of their people, or take meaningful steps towards addressing their grievances. As the United States extended its sanctions, and the international community observed and waited, the fate of these two nations hung precariously in the balance. The people, long denied their basic human rights, clung to the hope that one day Drones would no longer symbolize death and destruction, but herald the arrival of a brighter, more peaceful future. However, in a grim turn of events in Sudan, the government unleashed a horrific drone strike on civilians. This distressing incident took place in the Horn of Africa, specifically south of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, targeting a market. Shockingly, over 60 lives were lost in this attack, as reported by activists and medical personnel. This incident only added to the growing concern that the killing of civilians had become an alarming new norm for governments in the region. The backdrop to this tragedy was the ongoing power struggle between the military and the paramilitary rapid support forces for control of the nation. This recent drone strike serves as a stark reminder of the escalating violence in Sudan. Just a week prior to this horrifying incident, another airstrike in the same area claimed the lives of 20 civilians on September 2, according to reports by activists. The toll from Sunday's Kuro Market massacre had risen to 46 by evening, as confirmed by the local resistance committee. The committee revised an earlier estimate of 30 fatalities, shedding light on the grim reality of the situation. Dozens more were wounded, and casualties continued to flood into the nearby Bashir hospital. This prolonged conflict, which began on April 15, has witnessed an estimated loss of nearly 7,500 lives, according to the Armed Conflict Location Event Data Project. Control of the skies over Khartoum is held by the armed forces, while RSF fighters maintain a dominant presence on the city's streets. Disturbingly, there have been allegations of indiscriminate shelling in residential areas where paramilitaries are entrenched. This includes reports of evictions and the occupation of homes, raising concerns about potential violations of the Geneva Conventions, as highlighted by the US-supported Sudan Conflict Observatory. In response to Sunday's tragedy, RSF accused the military of conducting airstrikes against civilians in the south of Khartoum, a claim that was vehemently denied by the armed forces. The military maintained that their strikes exclusively target rebel gatherings, crowds, and bases in accordance with international humanitarian law. The heart of this conflict has primarily been concentrated in the western region of Darfur, where Western nations have accused RSF and allied militias of engaging in ethnically motivated killings. The International Criminal Court has initiated a new investigation into alleged war crimes. Despite months of combat, neither side has managed to secure a decisive advantage. Data reveals that approximately 2.8 million people have fled Khartoum, a city whose pre-war population was around 5 million. Those who cannot or will not leave the city find themselves trapped amidst ongoing airstrikes, artillery fire, and street battles. They endure the difficult conditions of rationing vital resources such as water and electricity. This conflict has forcibly displaced more than 5 million people in Sudan, with approximately 1 million becoming refugees in neighboring countries. Despite efforts to broker truces led by the United States and Saudi Arabia, these attempts have consistently been violated, leading to the adjournment of talks in June. Recent diplomatic initiatives, including visits by Burhan to Egypt, South Sudan, and Qatar, hint at a potential return to negotiations. However, both sides, represented by Burhan and Daglo, continue to exchange hostile statements, making the path to peace uncertain. Thank you for joining us today on Rift Valley Tube, your source for unbiased African affairs coverage. If you found this analysis informative and thought-provoking, please do us a favor. Leave a comment below. Hit that like button and share this video with your friends and networks. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on the latest developments in African affairs and gain access to in-depth analysis like this. Your support enables us to continue shedding light on crucial issues across the African continent. So please, subscribe now and be part of our community. Until next time, I'm Solomon Ali, signing off from Rift Valley Tube.
تقلنا هيكو تينا سلين زمينكو تسدامة نايكو أنا لي زمان ما شفتكم دق أسمرة كمل خمس دق أسمرة كمل خمس دق أسمرة كمل خمس كبس دم سينا نعرن عخم دق أسمرة كمل خمس كبس دم سينا نعرن عخم دق أسمرة كمل خمس كبس دم سينا نعرن عخم أنا لي زمان ما شفتكم التم جرتاح نقاردا التم جرتاح نقاردا سلالو دفني سوداني دا التم جرتاح نقاردا سلالو دفني سوداني دا أنا